السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Inshallah ta'ala, today I decided to just cover the other basic mufattirat, or that it allows us to break the fast during Ramadan, the easy ones, and leave the issue of pregnancy and the issue of nursing toward the end, because it has more details. And inshallah ta'ala, we want to cover what's a little bit more light now today, inshallah. So it's going to be a light session today, inshallah, and we'll go from there, bi'idhnillah. To just wrap up on our session yesterday about the sick person, the one that is not feeling well. And I think one thing that I did not cover in closely, which is the issue of the chronic illnesses. I think I did cover on the issue of someone having a very difficulties fasting because of the sickness, but this could be temporarily, and we said the person can break the fast and make it up later on. But we didn't talk much about a sick person who has a chronic illnesses. Yani, it's something that is it's terminal. Nothing would happen. Of course, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides with His absolute mercy to lift that disease and illness from that person and comes back to normal state. But according to the best of our judgment as human beings, it's an terminal sickness, and it's chronic. It just doesn't stop. So with that, what would be, inshallah ta'ala, the answer for that person? That person does not have to try to fast, and if he was not able to continue the fast and feels very weak and feels very tired and very sick, then he ends up breaking the fast. He does not need to do that. She does not need to do that. For chronic illnesses, for terminal illnesses, it is by default that they have the intention not to fast. So they're not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want them to fast. So actually, this is very interesting. Actually, them not fasting is their worship acts. This is really amazing. So you know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all means, wants us to preserve this precious soul that He created. Just imagine with that, what is our role outside of Ramadan, how we should take care of the soul spiritually and mentally and physically and what have you. Very important, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want the person to send himself in hardship. So again, the question would be, for a chronic illness, for a terminal illness, would that person need to try to fast and then break it if he could not do it? The answer is no. That person would not have any intention to fast, inshallah, receiving the same reward as if they have fasted bi'idhnillah. So that's the answer. The next question would be, are they free? They don't have to pay anything, or kafara, or what have you. It's not called kafara here, because here kafara means someone did a mistake and someone did a shortcoming and it needs to be rectified. Fidya means is in replacement of. That's what fidya is to replace it with, to save it with and replace it with. So because there is no fasting, the fidya would be to feed one poor per day. one poor person per day. One poor person, Muslim person per day. Okay, so it means that if we were to take the average of $8 to $10, let's say $10 times 30 days, that's $300. This is the fidya. We call it fidya. It's not kafara, it's fidya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Fidya, Allah uses the word fidya. That's in Surah Al-Baqarah, same verse that we have, inshallah ta'ala. So in like two verses, see the preciseness of the Quran. Two verses, we're taking all the rules since we started the series. So on that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the allowance to elders, people who are in advanced age. They are very old. So some people will say how this is how we are going to cover it today, inshallah. So, but now we're talking about a person with chronic illness, and the marid. The marid is the one, the sick person, applies to the one with terminal illnesses. طيب. So now the question, the third question on this, pertaining to this, before we go to the elder, because the ayah that I just used was for the elder that is not sick. So we're still using the part of the verse which is فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. Those who are sick or those on travel. However, the sick person is terminal, so it just drops and we pay the fidya. The third question would be, is the fidya to be paid every day, $10, or can it be paid a lump sum, $300? And when do we pay it? So the answer is it could be paid on daily basis. It could be given to one person every night to break his fast. It could be done as a bulk, $300, when it could be paid from the beginning of the month, middle of the month, or toward the end of the month. It doesn't matter, but it's most preferable to do it at the beginning of the month, since the person knows that it's a chronic terminal illnesses, so people can benefit from it, so they can break their fast on it, inshallah, poor people. So it is highly recommended to do it at the beginning of the month. Now, can we do it also as a bulk to feed like 30 people one time in one setting? The answer is yes. Remember, it's not something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. It has to be in every night. It's a total of 30 poor, needy Muslim people that need to be fed. So many branches come under this. Could it be one person that is being fed every night? Just one person every night for 30 nights? Yes. Could it be 30 people all together in one night? Yes. Could it be every night but different person? Person A first night, person B second night, person C third night, and so on and so forth. Yes. All the answers are yes, very flexible, but it just needs to be done. That's the most important thing. No matter what the format is, no matter how it gets done, the end result needs to be 30 people, 30 Muslim people get fed by the end of the month. By the end of the month, they should be fed already. So that's like the outcome. Okay, with that, inshallah ta'ala, I think we covered the remaining of the marid, the sick person that I missed yesterday. Now, the other categories are very easy, inshallah, so we can go through them, which is the elder age, the one that I said, a person who is way advanced in age. So the person who is advanced in age does not necessarily fall under the category of a sick person. Remember, it's the age that's a different category. So an elder person, advanced in age, not sick, feels okay, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, but does not feel like he or she can fast. It's very difficult for them to refrain from eating and drinking for a long period of time. They get dehydrated really quick. So they're healthy, alhamdulillah, yani, with limitations to their age. So they're overall they're not called sick. They're not necessarily on medication. So they're not sick people, they're not illness. This is a different category, which is just old age, but advanced old age. Yani nowadays in our criteria, it would be a minimum maybe of 80 and up, like people who are in their 80s, 90s, and what have you. But they know themselves. They know that they just can't fast for that long and what have you. Allah give them the permissibility to fast. But of course, if they know that they are able to fast, alhamdulillah, with no issue, then it becomes a must on them. This is just an outline, a general rule for people who are advanced in age, in their 80s, in their 90s, and they feel they're very concerned about their health, that if they fast, it would deteriorate really, really drastically and really bad. So they just avoid taking chances. Allah gave that permissibility. How? This is very simple. That's the criteria. That's the category. If they, of course, they don't pray, they don't fast the month of Ramadan, which means it goes without saying that they don't need to make it up, because they are not able to do it during even Ramadan. So let alone they can't do it after Ramadan. So what do they need to do? They just need to pay the what we call it, the fidya that we just talked about, because it's an excuse. Remember, it's not a shortcoming, it's not a mistake that they have done, it's not something that they have damaged their or not damaged, invalidated their fasting because of a mistake or shortcoming, so they need to pay kafara. No, it is naturally advanced age that they are in, and they're paying fidya for that. This is where I used the verse at the beginning of the video where I said, وَعَلَى الَّذِي, same ayah, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, the companion, the knowledgeable companion, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu arda, said that this verse, some scholars said that, or some people of the Sahaba have thought that this verse is nullified, is basically abrogated, and it is abolished. Basically, it's replaced with a different. He said, no, it's not replaced or anything. It pertains to people of old age as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them the permissibility. What does it mean? وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. That they're actually able to do it. They're healthy, but limited to their age. They're able to do it, but there is consequences of doing it because of their elder age and their old age, that it's going to deteriorate their health. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed them to break their fast. طيب, they pay the fidya, same thing like we talked about the chronic illness, same thing. It's to feed one poor Muslim person per night, and it could be done in any of the format that we have, or the forms that we talked about. Like, how could it be applied? Same thing, inshallah ta'ala, as long as they end up feeding 30 needy, poor Muslim individuals. That's the most important thing. That's the outcome. Now we go to another simple category, which is al-mustakrah or al-ikrah. Someone that is forced to break the fast. An external authority, intimidation, fear, like in some Muslims went through some eras of time and some periods of time where they were hiding their identity as Muslims. Not in the past, unfortunately. It's happening now as well. The minority Muslims in China is one of the examples and what have you. They're not allowed to show their Islamic practice and what have you. Not only that, they're forced to actually assimilate and intermingle within the culture. So they have to show publicly that they're eating and drinking and they're not observing the ritual of fast. So this is ikrah, this is mustakrah because of an external authority and fear that is coming to intimidate them and force them into not forcing them into breaking their fast. What would be the answer to that? The answer to that, of course, because this person again doesn't fall under the category, so it doesn't fall under the category of having the permissibility to break the fast. So they're not sinful. Again, remember, it's not a kafara or anything that they need to do because they didn't do it on purpose. They didn't do it because of their weakness or anything. It's because of an external pressure on it. So that is something that we, again, if they're able later on, inshallah ta'ala, if they got freed, if they know the limitation went away, they would go ahead, inshallah ta'ala, and make up those missed days. If not, then they were forced into this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish the people that have made them do so, not the person himself or herself, because they didn't do it on purpose. So it's something to, inshallah ta'ala, make a note of. So they're not really paying kafara. They are not, if they're able to pay the fidya on it, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Now, this is according to the jumhur, the majority of the scholars. However,